she's going to the Oaks. She's 25-1. I couldn't put anyone off backing her. She looked really quite smart on the weekend.
Feel the goal to win, Colin Keane, Bosch.
Very good horse on his day. He's not won obviously this year, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him bouncing back at the top level.
Hello, welcome back to the Only Fools of Horses YouTube channel. We've had plenty of classic action through the flat season already. We've had Newmarket, we've had France, and now we have Ireland on the weekend. Yes, the Irish 2,000 and 1,000 guineas. Also the Tattersalls Gold Cup and some interesting action over at Haydock. On this video, we're going to be previewing a couple of fancies for the weekend's and anti-post stage and looking back on the weekend we just had with the Lockinge and potentially some York chat as well. So plenty to talk about in this video. Gentlemen, we have our first video for a couple of weeks just with scheduling issues, and look, it's the flat season. It's all sort of just going bits and pieces left and right. Here we are, but we are on a video to talk about racing just gone, racing coming up. Lee, we've made full transition now into the flat season. How are you finding it? You enjoying it?
Well, as we record, I'm about to leave for Hexham for the. I haven't quite transitioned. No, look, I enjoy all codes, but I have a preference for the jumps. But it's just that dip in between jumps and flat. I don't kind of enjoy, because it's actually hard to find winners, simply put. But I've been in good form. Touch wood. Hexham. I always leave before the last, so I'm hoping for 6 winners out of the 7.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, wish you best of luck there. Harry, to the left of me, as on the screen, you're off to a tea time later. Lee's off to Hexham. We're getting this in just before. So, are you looking forward to this weekend, or are you looking forward to your tea time a bit more?
Definitely not looking forward to the tea time. It's winter. It's now into a competition month, so it's never a good time of year. But the sun's out, sunshine is gorgeous. Weekend was brilliant. The racing wise, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the best Lockinges I think personally I've ever seen. But obviously some of the big dogs coming out, like the likes of Frankel, etc. But no, brilliant weekend, and we've got a really good weekend to look forward to as well.
We definitely do, yeah. We're going to keep this video fairly on the short side, but we're going to look at the racing that's just occurred. Like Harry said there with the Lockinge, plenty to talk about. Lee, look, I'm going to throw this over to you. Just what's your maybe main takeaways from either the Lockinge weekend, any horse you want to sort of keep in the notebook going forward?
Just for the Lockinge, I think the 2 Guineas winners from last season, the Irish Guineas, just went out behind. Yeah, Brazilian, sorry, and obviously the Newmarket one, Notable Speech. They'll come forward, and they run solid races. Our 4th. Look, I think the first 4 basically are really good horses, and I kicked myself with the winner because I backed them at Sandown and then tailed off, and the one that and then the reverse form, and I backed the second. So look, such as racing and such as life. But yeah, I think the first 4 decent horses, but Resilient and Notable Speech will come forward a huge. It'll be a fascinating Queen Anne anyways at Royal Ascot. But look, that's kind of the only takeaway for me from the weekend.
Yeah, that's my sort of thing to talk about there with the Lockinge, just that those 4 horses are going to meet again in the Queen Anne. And like you said, you backed Lead Artist at Sandown last time out. I think it's key. We're probably sort of on the back end of it now, but it's key to look at race fitness with these horses. We've had maybe 60% of the main horses from last season that have maybe had their first runs of the campaign, but there's still some horses, for example, Port Fortuna this weekend, who are big horses, but they will probably improve for a run. Lead Artist ran at Sandown, bad ground, ran poorly, is then going to improve to win a Group 1 kind of thing. So for me personally anyway, I think race fitness is number 1 at this part of the season, because trainers aren't stupid. They're not going to go 110% first run of the season. They will improve for the run. So Notable Speech and Resilient, I think those 2 will probably reverse the form in the Queen Anne. And I actually would probably prefer Notable Speech. I think he's just a high-class animal who's got, I'd arguably say, got better from 3 to 4. And he looks to strengthen up nicely. He'll like the quick round at Ascot. The St. James's Palace run last season is in the back of my mind as a worry, but he's my sort of Queen Anne horse, I think. So, yeah, just race fitness and for me personally, that Lockinge race, the form could definitely be reversed. Harry, what about for you? Anything from the weekend that's on the burning edge of your mind?
Yeah, I think Dancing Gemini was a bit sick, you know. I really, really fancied him going in, and he just kind of got there, and then, you know, fair play to Lead Artist. I thought as soon as he got headed, I thought that was it, but fair play to the horse, you know, battled all the way back. I wouldn't write off I wouldn't write off Dancing Gemini. You know, last year he was very good. Obviously, he had kind of had this reputation, but I think we mentioned Noble Speech, growing in age and growing in maturity and getting better. I think Dancing Gemini is right up there with the very best of them, especially in that division this year.
Hey, muted. There you are.
Yay.
Nearly got myself caught out. Yeah, look, Dancing Gemini, huge performance. I may be a small bit worried for Royal Ascot just on ground. Roger Teal and Ryan Moore said the ground potentially caught him out on the weekend. And if we do have a quick round, Queen Anne, that might just be against him. Just away from the lock-ins for me, I thought Killing Queen was really good in the listed race for fillies. The Charles Wickbury Stud Fillies Trial Stakes. I thought she was really, really smart. Ed Walker, to all intents and purposes, fancied her quite heavily to win the listed Pretty Polly Stakes at Newmarket last time out. Didn't really go for her. She probably needed her first run of the season, was caught in behind a couple of horses. And the form of that race probably isn't too bad with the Shadwell horse that won. And there's Life is Beautiful was the second horse for the Golstons. She's going to the Oaks. She's 25-1. I couldn't put anyone off backing her. She looked really quite smart on the weekend. I think the second as well, Revoir, is also going to the Oaks, is a sister to Remarquee, who placed in 2 Group 1s for Rafe Beckett. I think both of those horses are quite smart. They're both going to go to the Oaks. They'd be my outsiders for the Oaks to follow there. So Killing Queen and Revoir would be my horses to just put in the tracker going forward. Right, gentlemen, we've talked about the week just gone. We're going to do this in different styles how we usually do it. We usually sort of go through races individually and then talk about them as a preview, but we're just going to go for our weekend fancies at this early stage because there's plenty of races to talk about. There's Irish Guineas, there's decent card at Haydock with the Temple Stakes as well. So just going to open the floor to each one of us to put forward our early fancy at this stage, because we do tend to do relatively well when it comes to these early week fancies. Lee, I'll come back over to you then. Irish Guineas and Haydock, is there anything that's taking your eye?
The Irish Guineas and Haydock, actually. There's 2 in Ireland I like. One I know you like, Ash, is Iberian. I know we've been a fan in the past. I thought looked unlucky, jinked kind of thing when at Doncaster. But yeah, I think can step forward. Isn't that Greenland Stake, the Group 2 there? I don't think there's much in the race, just simply put. Does need to step forward, but has, that class from last season. I think could win it in just in a week renewal. So Iberian will be one I look forward to at the Curragh. I think Field of Gold should have won the Guineas. I really do. You can make whatever you say. My own opinion, and it's just my opinion. He pressed the button too late, and he paid the price. Simple as. Look, it might be in a pocket talk because I did back the horse as well, but that was my opinion. And Colin Keane now takes the ride. Look, I would have given Kieran Schumacher another chance. No danger about it. But Colin Keane is a top pilot in Ireland, and I think can get the best out of Field of Gold. I think he'll win the Guineas. I just think he's the best in it. And look, my main play is Arizona Blaze in the Sandy Lane, the Group 2 at Haydock. 6 furlongs. I think this is Arizona Blaze bag. Like, it's just the form lines. Like last time I won it Chantilly, I think it was, in a 5.5 furlong race. Fairly bolted up but stayed on well. Prior to that, I'd run a length behind Henry Matisse over 7 furlongs at Leopardstown. Only faded just very late on as well. And now back down to the 6. I just think I've got the form from last season. Was third in the Norfolk. If these are all off the top of my head, as everyone knows. But third in the Norfolk. Has Group 1 form. Was behind Babouche, who's come out and won the Group 3. Behind Whistlejack, behind Henry Matisse again last season. Just like a load of form lines. But I just think 6 furlongs is the bag for this horse, Arizona Blaze. So yeah, the Group 2 can step up from that Group 3 last time out. Got the Group 1 form, trip and ground to be fine. And David Egan's is dropped up in the post. And what kind of swayed it as well? Symbol of honour, who Harry put up the other day as a winner. But shout out to you, Harry. But that horse only ran at the weekend, so is down to running here, but unlikely to run. And William Buick is booked on Big Mojo. So that kind of indicates that symbol of honour isn't going to run. And last season, Arizona Blaze was actually ahead, went second in the Breeders' Cup turf sprint, ahead of Big Mojo as well. So, look, has already had the beating of the favourite, got the Group 1 form, trip. Anyways, all said and done, I like Arizona Blaze in the Sandy Lane at Haydock on Saturday.
Yeah, I can't put you off Arizona Blaze myself either. I really like any piece of form of Henry Matisse. I think he's a really strong piece of form, and I'll be talking about that in a bit. So I like the Arizona Blaze shout. Harry, what about for yourself? Anything for this weekend that you're eagerly awaiting?
No, I think that race, especially with William Buick, that was what I was going to focus on. Now, why is Symbol of Honor not got William Buick chopped up and Big Mojo has? I think that kind of may be a case of, is William Buick, does he know kind of that this horse isn't going to go? Because surely that
it's only 7 days because he ran at Newbury on Saturday, so they're probably not bothered, are they?
But I would say that if this horse, if Symbol of Honor does go, I'd be all over him. I just, everything that we saw on Newbury, I said in the podcast on the morning show on Saturday, and I said the drop back in trip is just everything that this horse, full of speed. I think it's a little bit exaggerated, the move that Ryan Moore made, but I actually don't think anyone was really paying attention to what William Buick was doing. He wasn't even touching, his mount. He didn't even touch him, and then all of a sudden he pressed go a little bit later than what Ryan Moore did. And went away at the line. I thought it was really impressive. But Arizona Blaze is obviously there on merit. But one thing, another horse going away from Symbol of Honor, I'd say Lethal Levi might have a big chance in the Greenland Stake over in Ireland. I just think that this another horse I mentioned on the Saturday show, funnily enough. But he's got good form, and there's nothing. He beat obviously Walifi at Newbury. He then went to Ayr and won that. I'm sure he won the Ayr Gold Cup. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, he won the big weight. Yeah, Gold Cup. Yeah.
He bolted up as well. Obviously, this is top of my head, obviously, but I'm sure he bolted up, and it was a 1-2, wasn't it, for Carl Berg that day? Yeah, so he's a very good horse on his day. He's not won obviously this year, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him bouncing back at the top level.
Very good. For myself, I'm going to mention a couple. The Irish 2000, I kind of do think that Phil got a good win. Cosmic Year is a horse I like, but I think he's short enough now in the market. I'd happily let him run without my money on him. Rashabar's a big price. Second in the Greenham. Finished second to John Kill. John Kill's gone on to the French 2000 Guineas and ran a huge race behind Henri Matisse. And that French 2000 Guineas form collaterally got a boost because Luther was in fourth and Luther beat Killing Queen last season in the Ascending Stakes. So if you want to put the pins and the piece of string together on the board, it kind of does half work out in his favour. Really nice juvenile, form with Whistle Jacket, form with Camille Pizarro as well over in France. Still don't know how he didn't win over in France on Arc Weekend in that Group 1. I'm still sick to the day. 20-1 Rashabar. I don't think he's a bad price in the Irish 2000. Over at Haydock, big thing for me at Haydock is going to be the draw, just on those sprint races. The draw bias at Haydock, I remember back in, was it Little Big Bear? Did he win? Or was it Blackbeard? He came over, won them, and they won because of the draw one year. I was luckily fortunate that year. So just be watching for the draw. Temple Stakes, I thought She's Quality could play a part. She's 12-1. Good seasonal run behind Rumstar in the Palace House Stakes on the wrong side of the track at Newmarket. Came across and stayed on nicely. Tropical Storm was in 6th. He's won a listed race since. Interesting at the price, but I'm not steaming in. But in the 225 at Haydock, the Hedge of Oak Stakes, listed race for fillies, I expect Running Lion to win this. She's 3-1. She's race fit. She has good form with Friendly Soul, Sparkling Plenty, Fallen Angel, American
She's disappointing
Sonia.
now, though. She's becoming that Mr.
Bishop. I just put the run behind her last time out. She just didn't. She was friendless in the market. She should have won that race if she was on a going day. I think the race fitness, and this is a poor race now. This is a poor race. It's poor horses that are also not race fit. She's race fit and she's better than these. I expect her to win the Hedge of Oak Stakes at 3-1. And then in that race we were talking about there, the Sandy Lane, yes, I do think that Arizona Blaze is a fine chance at 4-1, but I don't do this very often. There's a related double, which I wouldn't half put people off. Arabian Dusk at 16s and Lake Victoria in the Irish 1000, because Lake Victoria beat Arabian Dusk at Newmarket last season in the Cheveley Park of Group 1 by 3 lengths. I think Arabian Dusk is a nice horse who has been a little bit disappointing this season, but gets to return onto a quick ground turf race, which I think will suit her a lot better. 16-1 for her, and Lake Victoria's what, about even money in the Irish 1000. Wouldn't pay anyone off the related double there. So those are our weekend fancies. One horse, gents. One horse. Is there one that's right on the top of your list? For me, it's Running Lion in the 225 at Haydock. Is there one that anyone's really looking forward to seeing?
I can't wait to see Field of Gold. That's just for obvious reasons. Whether I think more of a case of will King Shuey. It's a lot's been talking about that. I think it's been blown out of proportion personally, but it'd be interesting to see what happens if this horse blows up. What happens if this horse doesn't fire. I didn't think it was his fault in the Guineas, but
I do.
But that's the beauty of the game. That is the beauty of it, and we're allowed to have these opinions. We're allowed to have them.
Field of Gold to win, Colin Keane, Bosch.
There you go. Field of Gold, the pair beside me, and Running Line down the middle. Anyway, thank you for watching. Quite a short, sharp video, but hopefully you enjoyed plenty to talk about in regards to horse to follow from the weekend just gone and horse to follow for this weekend just coming. So plenty spoken about in a short, snappy fashion. If you did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. We're back, I'm sure, with fuller fancies on Saturday, on the Saturday Live 10:30 a.m. on Twitter at OLFH Racing. And yeah, just catch us about. Best of luck. If you haven't played any fancies, please do it responsibly, and we'll see you very, very soon.